asked when the wedding was. Her answer shocked me. It all started on a quiet Sunday morning. I was sipping my tea, watching the sunlight dance through the window, when my daughter-in-law walked into the room with that same calm, confident smile she always had. Now let me tell you something. I've seen a lot in my life, and I like to think I can read people. But this woman, oh, she had a way of keeping even the wisest aunties like me on their toes. I casually asked, "So, when did you get married?" She looked at me, paused for a fraction of a second, and said almost casually, "We got married yesterday." Now pause for a moment, dear listener. Did you catch that? Yesterday. Not last month, not last year, yesterday. I nearly dropped my teacup. My mind went spinning. Yesterday? How? Why didn't anyone tell me? What about the ceremony, the preparations, the guests? Questions flew through my head faster than a stormy Seattle wind. She laughed softly, a gentle, almost mischievous laugh, as if she knew the chaos she had just unleashed in my brain. And that, my dear friends, is where the story begins. You see, weddings aren't just about dresses, flowers, or cakes. They are about the emotions, the stories, the connections, the little secrets that everyone knows but no one talks about. And here I was, a mother-in-law with decades of life experience, blindsided by a single sentence. Her story began months ago, quietly, without fanfare. No one in the family knew the full details. Not the cousins, not the neighbors, not even the closest friends. She and my son had decided on a private, intimate ceremony, a small, meaningful moment just for the two of them. And she didn't tell a soul, not even me, because, well, that's the beauty of life sometimes. People choose their own moments. And sometimes, those moments are meant to be private. I remember sitting there, heart pounding, feeling a strange mix of shock, curiosity, and pride. Pride because I realized that she and my son had created something authentic, something real. They didn't need a grand stage or applause. Their love was enough. As she continued, she told me about the wedding day itself, the simplicity, the quiet exchange of vows in a little chapel, surrounded by green, trees and morning sunlight, the subtle smiles, the hidden glances, the tiny moments that most people overlook. That's when I realized that sometimes the most powerful events in life happen quietly, without announcement, and yet leave the deepest mark. And then came the little twist that made me laugh and gasp at the same time. They had actually planned the entire wedding in secret for weeks, coordinating with friends in another city, arranging a tiny... Now, I know what you're thinking. Why didn't they tell anyone? Aren't families supposed to be involved? And yes, normally you would expect that. But my daughter-in-law had a reason, a story behind her decision. And as I listened, I understood. Life is about choices, and sometimes the most courageous choice is to do things in your own way, regardless of what tradition expects. She told me about the early morning, how the birds were chirping outside the chapel, how the sunlight created little golden patterns on the wooden floor, how they exchanged vows with such sincerity that it felt like time itself had stopped. And in that moment, I felt a lesson wash over me. Life isn't about the spectacle. It's about the sincerity. Then came the part that really got me thinking. She said, "We didn't tell anyone because we wanted this to be ours first. The rest of the world can celebrate later." And there it was, the wisdom, hidden in a simple sentence. Sometimes the world is too busy with expectations, schedules, and noise. And sometimes the most profound moments are the ones shared quietly, intentionally, without a single observer. I remember nodding slowly, a smile creeping across my face. I wanted to laugh, cry, and hug them both at the same time. I realized then and there that this little surprise wedding was more than just a secret. It was a testament to love, trust, and individuality. And oh, the stories that came after. I won't tell you all at once, dear listener, because life isn't meant to be rushed. But let me leave you with this thought as part 1 ends. Sometimes the most shocking revelations aren't meant to frighten you. They are meant to teach you, challenge you, and make you see the beauty in life's quiet, hidden moments. And as I sat there, sipping my tea, my heart full of surprise and admiration, I knew this was just the beginning of a story I would remember forever. Family reactions and hidden secrets. The day after the secret wedding revelation, my house felt different. Normally, Sunday mornings are quiet, filled with the smell of fresh toast and the soft hum of the kettle. But this morning carried a subtle tension in the air. I had barely finished my breakfast when my phone buzzed incessantly. Messages, calls, emojis flying in from relatives across the city. Did you know? Wait, what? Tell us everything." I smiled to myself. The chaos had begun. I called my son into the kitchen. He was calm, as if he had already expected this storm. My daughter-in-law, sitting across the table with her mischievous smile, looked like a conductor orchestrating a symphony, and in a way she was. "Mom," my son said casually, "don't worry. They'll settle down." "Settle down?" I echoed, raising an eyebrow. "They're your family. They're going to explode." And explode they did. First came Aunt Rita, dialing me up as if she were reporting for a live news broadcast. "I can't believe this. Yesterday." "What about the guests? What about the cake? Did anyone even see them get married?" I laughed, trying to maintain some composure, but inside I was dying a little from the comedy of it all. Next, my sister-in-law chimed in with a long voice note, filled with exclamations and questions, practically narrating her own imagined version of the wedding. I saw them in my mind, dancing awkwardly, cutting the cake too early. Now, my dear listeners, this is when I realized one universal truth. Family reactions are always more dramatic than the event itself. Meanwhile, my daughter-in-law sat quietly, observing every message and call. She didn't flinch, didn't explain, didn't defend. She simply smiled, a subtle grin that said, "Yes, I did this my way. And yes, it was perfect. And you know what?" I started to understand her wisdom. The wedding, she explained, was intentionally small, intimate, and private. They wanted a ceremony that was just for them, a moment where their love could be celebrated without interference, without unnecessary opinions or expectations. "You know, Mom," she said softly, "sometimes people forget what a wedding is really about. It's not about the pomp, the display, or even the number of guests. It's about the promises you make to each other, quietly and sincerely." I nodded slowly, absorbing every word. There was something incredibly mature, thoughtful, and powerful about her perspective. And yet the funny part was the family's reaction outside, this quiet bubble of understanding. Messages kept coming in, some angry, some shocked, some curious, some just plain hilarious. And as I read through them, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Aunts, uncles, cousins, neighbors. Everyone had their own mental image of what the wedding should have looked like, and none of it matched reality. Then came my turn to intervene. I decided it was my duty to mediate, explain, and sometimes exaggerate the fun for effect. After all, what's a story without a little drama? I called Aunt Rita back, and in my calmest yet slightly teasing voice, I said, "Listen, everything was perfect. The vows were heartfelt. The couple was happy. And yes, there may not have been a grand cake or hundreds of guests, but their happiness is far greater than any party could measure." There was silence on the line. Then a small laugh. Finally, Aunt Rita admitted, "Well, if they're happy, I guess it's okay. But I still want pictures." The compromise of family dynamics. And as the day went on, I realized something deeper. The story of this wedding wasn't just about a secret ceremony. It was about respect, understanding, and letting people live their lives their way. I watched my daughter-in-law interact with everyone, patiently, gracefully, without a hint of irritation. She had mastered the art of balancing personal choice with social expectations, something most of us struggle with for decades. And here's the lesson. Dear listeners, sometimes the most powerful actions are quiet. Sometimes the most important moments are shared with just one or two people. And sometimes the shock you feel is just the world learning to respect someone else's choices. By evening, the messages had slowed. The storm had settled, leaving a quiet, reflective peace. My son and his wife had successfully navigated the chaos without ever raising their voices, and I, sitting in my favorite chair, realized that I had learned a new kind of wisdom from watching them. The rest of the story, my dear friends, will reveal the unexpected surprises, funny incidents, and the little secrets that even the family didn't know about this wedding. And oh, there are plenty of them. Moments that will make you laugh, cry, and maybe even rethink the way you see life's surprises, the little secrets and funny misunderstandings. The morning after the secret wedding had barely settled, the family was buzzing like a beehive. Messages, calls, texts, they were everywhere. But my son and his wife remained calm, almost as if they had planned for this chaos all along. I, on the other hand, was trying to mediate between shock, amusement, and pride. It started with my Aunt Rita. She called again, this time with a new batch of questions. Did they have a photographer? Who baked the cake? Are you telling me none of us saw it? I chuckled. Rita, calm down. It wasn't a grand affair. It was personal, private, and beautiful in its own way. "But Mom, this is the kind of news you don't just tell one person," she replied, voice rising. Meanwhile, my daughter-in-law sat gracefully, sipping her tea, a soft smile playing on her lips. I realized that this smile was her secret weapon, calm, wise, and confident. She didn't need to explain anything. Her serenity spoke volumes. Then came the funny part. My cousin Jerry, the ever-curious one, had imagined an entire wedding scenario in his head. He texted me, "Were they wearing a tuxedo? Did she trip on the dress? Did they at least have a DJ?" I laughed aloud. "Jerry, relax. They didn't need a DJ. They didn't need a cake. They needed each other, and that's what mattered." And this, dear listener, is when I realized the first lesson hidden in chaos. People will imagine what they want, but the truth can be more powerful than all their fantasies combined. The couple then shared some little secrets with me. The wedding ceremony had lasted barely 15 minutes. No big announcements, no decoration frenzy. They had simply chosen a chapel that captured the morning sunlight perfectly, exchanged heartfelt vows, and left with a quiet, intimate joy that no amount of fanfare could replicate. I must admit I was impressed. Even after decades of life experience, I hadn't expected such a bold, self-assured decision from a young couple. And there it was, the hidden courage and simplicity. Of course, the family reactions didn't stop. My neighbor, Mrs. Collins, called, pretending to scold me. "I heard about the wedding. Why wasn't I invited? I baked cookies for them." I couldn't help but laugh. "Mrs. Collins, the cookies can be for the post-wedding celebration. The wedding was theirs, not ours." Even my younger niece, Lily, texted emojis nonstop, faces with wide eyes, clapping hands, hearts. She didn't know what to ask first. I read the messages and realized that everyone experiences the same mix of curiosity, excitement, and envy when life surprises them. The next lesson hit me like a gentle wave. Not everyone will understand your choices, and that's perfectly fine. The couple didn't act recklessly. They acted with intention, authenticity, and love, and that mattered far more than anyone's opinion. As I sat back and observed, I noticed how these little secrets created a ripple effect of emotions. Shock, curiosity, amusement, admiration, all rolled into a single morning, and the story was only beginning. Later, my daughter-in-law shared an even funnier secret. During the tiny ceremony, my son had almost forgotten the vows. Can you imagine? He had to glance at the tiny paper she handed him, his cheeks red, fumbling with words, while she smiled knowingly. And I laughed so hard at the thought. Even in perfection, there is room for human flaws. By evening, the family had slowly started to understand the beauty of what had happened. While they still joked, teased, and demanded pictures, there was an underlying respect growing, respect for choices made intentionally, and love celebrated quietly. And that, dear friends, is the heart of this story. Life's most profound moments often happen quietly, and the reactions of others, though dramatic, cannot diminish their beauty. So as part 3 ends, remember this. The little secrets, funny misunderstandings, and chaotic reactions are all part of the journey. Embrace them, laugh with them, and learn from them. Family visits and unexpected emotions. The day after the initial shock had passed, the family decided it was time to officially visit the newlyweds. Now let me tell you, nothing in my life prepared me for the mixture of excitement, curiosity, and mild chaos that followed. The moment Aunt Rita stepped into the living room, she gasped as if she had walked onto the stage of a Broadway play. "I can't believe this. You're married, and no one told me?" My daughter-in-law, ever calm, smiled warmly. "We wanted it intimate, just us, but we're happy to share the joy with everyone now." The funny part? My cousin Jerry tried to give advice as if he were a wedding planner. "Where's the cake? The music? The decorations? Did you even have a proper photographer?" I chuckled, shaking my head. "Jerry, sometimes love doesn't need a spectacle. Sometimes it just needs honesty, sincerity, and commitment." As everyone settled in, small moments of vulnerability began to surface. Aunt Rita, who usually acted so dramatic and controlling, admitted quietly, "I guess I never thought you two could pull this off without, well, the usual chaos." My daughter-in-law leaned in and said gently, "Sometimes traditions can wait. Love and understanding cannot." And there it was, the lesson again. True love doesn't need validation. It thrives in understanding and intention. Then came the unexpected emotions. My son's younger cousins, who were normally too busy with their phones, were visibly moved by the simplicity and sincerity of the wedding. Lily, my niece, had tears in her eyes. "It's so beautiful. I never imagined it could be this simple and meaningful," she whispered. I realized that this intimate wedding, though small and secret, touched hearts in ways no grand ceremony could have, and sometimes the biggest impact comes quietly, in ways unseen at first glance. The couple then shared more funny stories, how they almost got lost on the way to the chapel, how my son had tried to hide his nervousness, and how my daughter-in-law had calmly guided him through every step. Even in moments of stress, their patience, love, and teamwork shone brightly. By the afternoon, the family had adapted. The jokes, the teasing, and the curiosity were still there, but now accompanied by admiration and respect. My aunt even offered to help with a small post-wedding gathering she was eager to celebrate, but on their terms this time. And here's the beauty, dear listener. The story wasn't just about a wedding. It was about how people react to choices, how emotions flow, and how respect grows from understanding. As the day came to a close, I sat quietly, reflecting on everything I had witnessed. I thought about the laughter, the occasional dramatic outburst, the quiet tears, and the sincere smiles. Every reaction, every emotion, was part of a bigger story, the story of love, family, and unexpected lessons. Finally, my daughter-in-law whispered to me, "Life is unpredictable, Mom, but when you embrace it with love and patience, even surprises become beautiful." And I nodded, feeling a warmth spread through my heart. Yes, life could be chaotic, dramatic, and surprising, but in every twist and turn, there was wisdom to be found. The post-wedding celebrations and hidden lessons. The days following the secret wedding were filled with a unique blend of calm, curiosity, and subtle excitement. The family had finally come to terms with the surprise, and now it was time for a small post-wedding celebration on the couple's terms. Of course, I remember the morning vividly. The living room was decorated modestly with flowers, soft lights, and a small cake. Nothing extravagant, nothing over the top, but everything perfect for the couple. It was the kind of setup that focused on love, warmth, and togetherness rather than spectacle. Aunt Rita, who had initially been so dramatic, now stood quietly, observing the couple with admiration. Even she admitted it's really beautiful in its simplicity. The younger cousins, initially skeptical, started sharing their excitement. Lily, my niece, was almost bouncing with joy, her eyes sparkling. "This is way better than any big wedding I've seen on TV." And then came the funny moments. My cousin Jerry, still unable to resist his inner wedding planner, tried to organize a toast. "Let's all raise a glass. Wait, where's the champagne?" I laughed and handed him a simple cup of juice. "Here, Jerry, it's the thought that counts." That simple gesture brought genuine laughter. Everyone realized that celebrations don't need grandeur. They need connection, joy, and sincerity. As the day went on, my daughter-in-law shared a quiet moment with me. "Mom, life is full of surprises. Some are dramatic, some are small, but each one teaches us something about love, patience, and understanding." I nodded, realizing once again that these small moments carried the most powerful lessons. Love doesn't always announce itself with fireworks. Sometimes it quietly blooms in the spaces between family, laughter, and shared joy. Even the small disagreements, like Aunt Rita debating the cake flavor or my son teasing his wife about the vows, became part of the charm. These interactions revealed character, patience, and the true nature of familial love. By evening, the celebration had wrapped up. The family, now fully relaxed, shared stories, laughter, and even a few quiet tears. It was evident that while the wedding was small, its impact was deep, lasting, and meaningful. And here's the hidden lesson. Dear listener, life's most important moments often happen quietly, without fanfare, yet they leave impressions stronger than any public celebration could. The couple had achieved exactly what they wanted: love, intimacy, and lasting memories, all while teaching the family about patience, understanding, and respect. As I sat back, reflecting on the day, I smiled. Yes, the journey had been surprising, dramatic, and occasionally chaotic, but in every moment, there was a story, a lesson, and a memory to cherish. Looking ahead, future plans and family acceptance. Days had passed since the secret wedding, and the initial storm of curiosity and drama had gradually settled. The family was now quietly observing, processing what had happened, and slowly, acceptance was taking root. My daughter-in-law, always calm and wise, had invited me for a private chat in the living room. "Mom, people react strongly when they don't understand. But once they see your intentions, Respect grows, she said, her voice soft yet firm. I nodded, realizing how true her words were. Over the past few days, I had watched the family's dramatic reaction slowly shift to admiration. Aunt Rita, who once almost fainted at the thought of a secret wedding, had now offered to help plan a small post-wedding dinner. Even Cousin Jerry, still full of his over-the-top ideas, admitted, "Okay, I see why you did it this way." Honestly, it makes sense. And that, dear listener, is the first lesson of Part 6. People will accept what they understand, and understanding grows with time, patience, and gentle guidance. Then came the discussion about the couple's future plans. They spoke quietly but confidently about moving into a small apartment together, focusing on their careers, and even planning a short trip. Their vision wasn't flashy. It was thoughtful, intentional, and realistic, a plan that prioritized growth, love, and partnership. My son smiled, glancing at his wife. "We want to take things step by step. Mom, life is already complicated enough. Our focus should be on us and our future together." I felt proud. In a world obsessed with public displays and social expectations, here was a couple choosing authenticity over showiness. And the family? They were slowly coming around, recognizing the wisdom in these choices. That evening, the family gathered again for a casual meal. Conversations flowed freely. Teasing was abundant. But beneath the laughter was a genuine sense of acceptance and understanding. Aunt Rita even complimented my daughter-in-law's choices, a gesture that spoke volumes considering her initial skepticism. And then, a funny moment broke out. Cousin Jerry, still unable to resist, asked, "So, when's the big honeymoon? Or are you just living this secret life forever?" Everyone laughed. My daughter-in-law replied with a wink, "Patience, Jerry. All good things come in time." The lesson here, dear friends, is twofold. And our acceptance comes slowly, especially when decisions break norms or expectations. 2. Life's most meaningful journeys are often quiet, deliberate, and guided by intention rather than spectacle. By the end of Part 6, I felt a profound sense of peace. The couple was confident, the family was learning, and the story was unfolding naturally, teaching lessons of love, patience, wisdom, and subtle humor along the way. And as I watched the couple plan their future, I realized that the real beauty of life lies not in grand events but in small, intentional actions, understanding relationships, and celebrating love quietly, unexpected challenges, and deeper family bonding. Life after the secret wedding didn't slow down. It shifted into a new rhythm, filled with unexpected challenges and small, funny incidents that brought the family closer than ever. It all began one morning when my son tried to surprise his wife with breakfast in bed. A simple idea, right? But somehow eggs landed on the counter, toast got burnt, and the cat, Mr. Whiskers, decided to join the chaos. My daughter-in-law laughed, not upset at all. "You really know how to create a morning disaster," she teased, wiping egg from the counter. I chuckled from the doorway. "Ah, so love is not just perfect vows, it's burnt toast." A little chaos and shared laughter. That small moment reminded me of a key lesson. Life doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful. Sometimes imperfection is what makes it memorable. Later that day, the family gathered for a casual visit. Aunt Rita, who had been skeptical, brought a batch of her famous cookies, this time without any complaints. She admitted, "All right, I'll admit, you two really did this right." Quiet, simple, and meaningful. I see now. Even Cousin Jerry, who still carried his playful mischief, had started offering helpful advice instead of endless questions. "Maybe add some fresh flowers next time just to make it cozy," he suggested. Small, funny incidents kept happening. My niece Lily, ever curious, tried to peek at the couple's planner to see their future trip plans. My son caught her in the act, and both of them ended up in fits of laughter. And this, dear friends, was when I noticed something profound. Shared laughter and small challenges create bonds stronger than formal celebrations ever could. The family was learning patience, understanding, and the subtle art of acceptance. That evening, while everyone settled down with tea, my daughter-in-law shared a quiet reflection with me. "Mom, life is unpredictable, but if we face challenges together and laugh at the small mishaps, it becomes beautiful, even memorable." I nodded, sipping my tea. She was right. Each burnt toast, each forgotten detail, each funny misunderstanding was an opportunity for love to shine brighter and for relationships to grow deeper. By the end of Part 7, the house was filled with warmth, laughter, and understanding. The secret wedding had caused initial chaos, but it had also sparked a deeper connection among everyone. And the lesson, dear listener, is simple. Embrace the small challenges, laugh at the unexpected, and treasure the moments that make life imperfectly perfect. Many emotional turning points and extended family surprises. Just when we thought the family had settled into a comfortable rhythm after the wedding, surprises began arriving from unexpected places. Letters, messages, even distant relatives calling, all with curiosity and warmth. It started with Uncle George. He called out of the blue. "I heard about the wedding. Didn't think you two could pull it off quietly," he said, laughing. His voice carried genuine admiration. Then came my distant cousin Emma, who sent a beautiful gift along with a note. Love is not measured by how grand the event is, but by how deeply it is felt. Even reading this made me pause. Sometimes, the simplest gestures hold the strongest emotions. Meanwhile, inside the house, small emotional turning points were happening. Aunt Rita, now completely on board, shared a heartfelt memory. "You know, I had my doubts, but seeing you both happy makes me realize how we often overcomplicate things. Life is simpler than we think." My daughter-in-law smiled softly. "Exactly, Aunt Rita. Happiness isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, intimate, and shared only with those who truly care." Even Cousin Jerry, notorious for his jokes, had his own moment. He admitted, "I actually learned a lot from this secret wedding. That patience, understanding, and subtle planning matter more than flashy events." Then there was Lily, my young niece, who quietly said, "I think I understand now. Love is not about showing off. It's about caring, laughing, and supporting each other." I realized in that moment that the impact of small, intentional choices can ripple far beyond our immediate vision. The wedding had been tiny, but it created profound emotional connections that everyone, near or far, could feel. As the day continued, more extended family members arrived or called with congratulations, little gifts, and stories of their own weddings. These surprises brought laughter, tears, and a sense of unity that no grand ceremony could have achieved. And here's the lesson. Dear listener, life's most meaningful celebrations are often quiet, intentional, and heartfelt. People may not understand at first, but when love, respect, and authenticity are at the core, even distant family can feel the magic. By the evening, the house was filled with laughter, shared memories, and heartfelt moments. The secret wedding, initially a source of chaos, had now turned into a beacon of wisdom, love, and family connection. And the takeaway? The smallest gestures, the quietest celebrations, and the thoughtful choices often leave the deepest impact on hearts. Unexpected life lessons and family reflections. By now, the initial excitement and chaos of the secret wedding had settled, but something even more profound was taking shape. Life lessons and reflections began surfacing, quietly, unexpectedly, and often in ways that left everyone thinking. It started with a casual evening tea. Aunt Rita, normally so dramatic and talkative, leaned back in her chair and said softly, "I think I learned something important. Life doesn't always follow the rules we set. Sometimes the best moments happen outside of expectations." My daughter-in-law nodded. "Yes, Aunt Rita. And it's often the small, intentional choices that make life meaningful." Even Cousin Jerry, known for his playful sarcasm, offered his insight. "You know, I thought this wedding was unconventional, maybe even wrong. But seeing how happy you both are, I realize maybe we overthink life too much. Sometimes we just need to trust the process." Then came Lily, my young niece, with her innocent perspective. "I always thought weddings had to be big and showy, but now I see it's about love, understanding, and sharing moments with people who truly care." I smiled, realizing that lessons come from the most unexpected places. The youngest, the mischievous cousin, even the dramatic aunt, they all contributed reflections that added depth to the story. As the week progressed, small incidents continued to reinforce these lessons. My son forgot to buy milk for breakfast, and instead of frustration, my daughter-in-law calmly suggested, "Let's walk to the store together. Life's too short to worry about small mistakes." I realized the beauty in these moments. Life isn't perfect, but how we respond to its imperfections shapes our character, relationships, and happiness. Another reflection came when Aunt Rita shared an old story about her own wedding, filled with mishaps and unexpected twists. She admitted, "I wish I had understood back then what I understand now. Perfection isn't the goal, connection, understanding, and love are." By evening, the house felt lighter, warmer, and more connected. Every laugh, every minor mishap, every quiet reflection was building something bigger, a family bond strengthened by understanding, patience, and shared wisdom. And here's the takeaway. Dear listener, unexpected life lessons often appear in the smallest moments, in laughter, chaos, and reflection. When we pay attention, we learn, grow, and cherish life more deeply. The secret wedding, which had started as a shocking surprise, had transformed into a journey of growth, love, and profound insights for everyone involved. The grand conclusion. Lessons. Love and closure. The weeks following the secret wedding had been a whirlwind of emotions. Laughter, surprises, and heartfelt reflections. And now, as everything settled, it was time to reflect on what this journey had truly taught us all. The couple, my son and his wife, had settled into their life with grace and confidence. Their love had grown stronger, built not on grandeur or external validation, but on trust, patience, and mutual understanding. The family, who had initially reacted with shock and curiosity, had now fully embraced the couple's choices. Aunt Rita, once dramatic and skeptical, now offered heartfelt support and guidance. Cousin Jerry, the playful mischief maker, had learned to appreciate patience and subtlety. Even young Lily had gained wisdom far beyond her years, understanding that love and celebration don't require spectacle. They require sincerity. And the lessons, dear listener, were many. 1. Love thrives in intention, not in display. The wedding was simple, secret, and intimate, but its impact was profound. Life showed us that the truest celebrations are often quiet, deliberate, and heartfelt. 2. Family bonds deepen through understanding and patience. Chaos, teasing, and small misunderstandings became opportunities for growth. Every laugh, every minor mishap, every heartfelt reflection strengthened. Relationships turned. Life's imperfections make it beautiful. From burnt toast to missed details, the unexpected moments reminded us that perfection is not the goal. Connection, compassion, and love are. 4. Small gestures leave lasting impressions. The tiniest acts, a smile, a thoughtful word, a shared joke, can ripple through hearts and leave memories that endure far longer than grand events. 5. Acceptance grows with time. At first, the family struggled to understand, but over time, respect, admiration, and love replaced confusion and skepticism. Patience and open-mindedness allowed acceptance to blossom. As I looked around the living room one evening, seeing the couple laughing quietly, the family sharing stories, and even small surprises arriving from extended relatives, I felt a deep sense of peace. The secret wedding had been more than an event. It had been a journey of wisdom, love, and profound learning. My daughter-in-law whispered to me softly, "Mom, the most meaningful moments in life don't always come with applause. Sometimes they come quietly, teaching lessons we will carry forever." And I smiled, knowing she was right. Every shocked reaction, every laugh, every tear, every unexpected moment had shaped a story that would remain in our hearts forever. So, dear listener, as we close this chapter, cherish the quiet celebrations, embrace imperfections, learn from every surprise, and treasure the love that binds families together. For it is in these moments that life's true magic resides. And thus the story ends, not with a dramatic finale, but with wisdom, warmth, and heartfelt closure, reminding us that life's simplest moments often hold the deepest lessons. If you love this story, subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming and surprising stories every week. Don't forget to like and comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts and reactions.